Lawn skeletons, working the night shift. And now, from my Dark Matters collection, I present to you Halloween Treat. The giant human skeleton with flashing red eyes and swiveling head towered over a big dog skeleton, fangs agape, in full attack mode. Next to them stood the massive bones of the Grim Reaper, brandishing his scythe in a menacing pose. Together, they valiantly guarded William Leakey's modest suburban home. From their bony lips to God's ears, his skeletons had sworn to keep him safe. And given the dangers he faced, he needed all the help he could get. As Bill liked to tell himself, just because he wasn't paranoid, it didn't mean that others weren't out to get him. The problem was, he had that backwards. His lawn was not an uncommon sight in a country seemingly obsessed with spending big bucks to celebrate Halloween. Bill Leakey spared no expense as his collection of skeletons were joined by a dozen intricately carved jack-o'-lanterns, a squadron of flying ghosts, a pair of witches actively stirring bubbling cauldrons, endless strings of orange and purple lights, and his newest addition, a tombstone with what looked like a human hand poking through the nearby grass. Bill answered the 3 a.m. phone call with a gravelly, "Hello?" The voice on the other end was agitated and angry. He recognized it immediately. It was his nosy next-door neighbor, the old widower, Martha Simmons, with another complaint. This time, it was one he had fully expected. "Why on God's green earth, William Leakey, did you move your big old Grim Reaper skeleton to my front yard? Damn thing peering into my bedroom window. Green eyes glowing in the dark. Swear it was smiling at me, too. If that's your idea of a practical joke, it ain't mine. Wind had that thing tapping on my window till I couldn't take it no more. Kept me up all night. I want it gone first thing in the morning, or I'm calling the cops. And last night, caught that dang skeleton dog posed like he's peeing on my dogwood tree. By the time I got downstairs, dog's back on your lawn. Figured I had to be dreaming. Now I'm all sorts of confused." "Well, it wasn't me, Martha. Must have been neighborhood kids pulling a prank. No worries. I'll get it moved back first thing in the morning," he reassured her, knowing full well that he wouldn't have to. "And another thing, I don't want to see all them skeletons and Halloween junk on your lawn past Thanksgiving. Just ain't right, Bill. I've had enough. Neighbors all agree. Town hall's going to hear from me, too, if you don't clean up that front yard pronto." Threatening to call the cops on me again, he seethed to himself. Telling me how to keep my lawn. Been putting up with her garbage ever since old man Simmons passed. Of all the people he knew who were out to get him, Martha Simmons was at the top of his list. Bill Leakey had been pushed past his limit long before that phone call, and he'd been waiting all year to send her a Halloween treat. It was a chilly Halloween morning, and Bill stood on the front steps and smiled to himself as he nodded his approval. His Grim Reaper skeleton was right back where it belonged, just as he expected. So he walked over to Martha's, rang her bell, happy to be bearing news that would surely shut her old wrinkled trap. When she opened the door, he gave her a thumbs up as he pointed at the skeleton, still holding its scythe. Martha Simmons looked tired and annoyed. "That's more like it, Bill. Now make sure they stay put." "Well, Martha, I didn't have to move it after all. You were most likely dreaming again." "If that was a dream, it was as real as the crack in my bedroom window, Bill." "Probably just a bird," he tried to reassure her, knowing full well that it wasn't. On his way home, he called back to her. "Hey, Martha, you might think about calling an arborist. Your dogwood don't look so good." Then he quietly snickered to himself. "Ha! That tree is about to be the least of her worries." It was All Saints' Day, and as was his habit, Bill Leakey slept in. Watching an endless stream of cars slowly pass by his yard on Halloween night kept him up past his usual bedtime, as did the steady supply of young trick-or-treaters to his door. Coffee cup in hand, he stepped outside, looking out on his pride and joy. What he saw told him that all went well after the Halloween crowds had left. He took special notice of the bony hands of the Grim Reaper, still gripping his scythe, but with both thumbs pointing up. His hollow left eye socket then gave Bill a slow and bone-crunching wink. And he knew it wouldn't be long before one of his other nosy neighbors would be calling the cops instead of that old biddy next door. Martha Simmons' wide-open upstairs window and her bedroom curtain flapping in the brisk November breeze was all it would take to alert them. Bill instinctively surveyed his yard before he headed back inside. He noticed a tiny glint of reflected sunlight in the grass near the tombstone. Luckily, the coast was clear, not a jogger in sight. He bent down where the plastic replica used to be and carefully removed the diamond ring from the pale and wrinkled hand that now poked through his lawn in its place. He pulled back reflexively, gasping in horror as the fingers made a weak and desperate grab. After settling himself down, William Leakey waited patiently as one by one, Martha's fingers stopped moving and slowly stiffened. Thanks for listening.